All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the kickoff webinar for Lumina's Future Ready States initiative. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of the folks who are on this webinar and on this call today, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kermit Kaliba, and I am the strategy director for two-year Credentials of Value here at Lumina Foundation. I'm really excited to be inviting you or having you here for this webinar today. We've got a really dynamic agenda with some terrific speakers and panelists to help us launch this effort. But before we get to the agenda, let me say a little bit about the Future Ready States initiative and why we're doing this. So as everyone on this call knows, short-term workforce credentials have gained a lot of momentum in recent years as workers and businesses look for faster pathways to skills and jobs. And we've seen policymakers at the federal level and at the state level showing a lot of new interest in these programs. Our partners at HCM Strategists did an estimate last year where they found that nearly $5.6 billion have been spent by states in recent years to expand access to high-quality, non-degree short-term workforce programs. And of course, as we all saw in the last week or so, Congress has now expanded Pell Grants to certain high-quality short-term workforce programs at Title IV institutions. So even as we've seen this explosion of interest, though, there are questions about how we ensure that these credentials are credentials of value and how we can make sure that they lead to good outcomes for learners and for employers and for communities. There are questions about how learners can access these credentials and make sure that they complete these credentials. And in many cases, we know that these credentials are not fully embedded in state funding formulas, state tuition assistance programs, and educational data systems. And that has limited our ability in many ways to maximize the value of these credentials that we call credentials of value. At Lumina, we have been watching these developments, and we've also been watching as an incredible cohort of state leaders has emerged that we've noticed wrestling in real time with these questions. How do we maximize the value of short-term workforce credentials? We felt like the moment was right to bring those leaders together to advance the conversation, to improve policies and practices within states, and to create a shared understanding of the role that these credentials can and should play in our nation's workforce development and higher education landscape. And that brings us to today's launch of the Future Ready States initiative. With this project, we have invited leaders from 12 states to engage in an 18-month process where you're going to be assessing your current investments in short-term workforce credentials, setting a vision for what success would look like with these investments. And that is, what return does the state want on these investments? And then developing a statewide plan for meeting that new vision. We've been partnering with 5 national intermediaries to develop a shared learning agenda with you, and they will be supporting states in this process to help us develop this shared learning agenda to advance the work. We're profoundly grateful to all of our state and intermediary partners for their willingness to embark on this journey together. And we're really looking forward to seeing what some of the brightest minds in the business can come up with as we seek to strengthen the value of these credentials. Let me briefly discuss today's agenda. We're going to open up with some brief remarks from our president and CEO, Jamie Marasotis, who's going to provide some quick context on Lumina's vision and how this project aligns with that vision. Then we're going to hear some remarks from our Vice President of Learning and Work, Chauncey Lennon, who's going to share a little bit more context about how we think about this in the context of workforce development and community colleges. Then Chauncey's going to be introducing, we're thrilled to be joined by Governor Jared Polis of Colorado, who's going to share a little bit about his vision for how workforce credentials fit in Colorado's overall higher education landscape and why his office is spearheading Colorado's involvement in this initiative. We then have we're delighted. Many of you sent in video clips sharing why you're excited about this project and why you're excited to be a part of this initiative. We're going to play some of those clips for you, and then last but not least, we're going to have a panel where we've asked our intermediary partners, our 5 intermediary partners, to share a little bit of an overview about the states they're working with, the opportunities and the challenges they see in working with those states, and some of their theory of action as they move the conversation forward. With that, let me turn things over to Jamie to share a little bit of some brief remarks about Lumina's new goal and why we think this work matters in the context of that new goal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kermit. And like you, I'm terribly excited about this work on short-term credentials, grounded in what states are doing and supported by our important partners, the five intermediaries you mentioned. I want to take a minute to just set this work in the context of what Lumina does and where Lumina is going. I think many of you know that Lumina set out more than a decade and a half ago in 2008 to try to help the nation achieve a goal of 60% of working age adults earning degrees, certificates, or industry recognized credentials by 2025. And the good news is that since then, post-high school education attainment among adults 25 to 64 has increased a lot, from 38% to 55%. So millions of adults in that time period furthered their education and training with credentials and secured pay raises. They got jobs in new fields, and overall, they became better citizens and participants in their communities. In the work that we've been doing since 2008, states have been the key to the increase in attainment in many ways. They've set goals, they've developed strategies and plans, they've made investments, and they've learned from what they did and didn't accomplish, ultimately benefiting from collaboration not only within their states, but with each other as states working towards these common goals. Now, today, of course, we're facing a fresh set of challenges as a country. There are many doubts about job opportunities. There's questions about the influence of artificial intelligence, and of course, broader concerns about the cost of post-secondary learning. Confidence in traditional higher education is at a historically low level. So we need to rethink how education creates opportunities and drives success for individuals and communities. Today, I think we are at an inflection point in a lot of ways. The traditional access to higher education in many ways has improved, and so has credential attainment. But these questions about the value of degrees and other credentials and the time, expense, and relevance of these programs threaten to undermine progress. As a country, we have to do more to transform the learning system after high school, and particularly our workforce systems, to meet human talent needs, to expand economic prosperity for individuals, for families, and communities. So that's how we arrived at a new goal at Lumina for 2040. By 2040, 75% of adults in the U.S. labor market will have degrees, certificates, certifications, other credentials of value, leading to economic prosperity. We literally need to ensure that the post-secondary learning system serves more people better. It needs to be accessible, it needs to be affordable, and it should help people prepare people to prosper at work and at home and in their communities. This work in the Future Ready States initiative, therefore, is essential to that. We need to focus on these short-term credentials, these industry-recognized credentials and certificates, as part of the broader effort to make sure that the 2040 goal can actually happen. And of course, we can't do this work alone at Lumina Foundation. This work has to be done with major roles being played by states, along with education and training providers and others, doing the hard work of many people working as part of this movement to continue to increase credential of value attainment at the local and community level. So we're really proud and pleased to be participating in this work. I'm honored to play a role in helping to launch this effort, and thank you all very much for being here. I'll turn this back to Kermit.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate your leadership on these issues. Let me now turn to our Vice President of Learning and Work, Chauncey Lennon. Chauncey, if you wouldn't mind sharing a couple of remarks on your end, and then of course, introduce Governor Polis.
Thanks so much, Kermit. So I'm excited to add my welcome to everyone here today, and just want to say a few additional words about why Lumina is committed to partnering with states to expand their capacity to deliver these high-quality, short-term workforce training programs. Jamie spoke a minute ago about our new 2040 goal. The demographic reality we face is that we will not reach that 2040 goal without transforming the ways in which states provide short-term workforce education and training. Over the next decade, we will have roughly 30 million high school graduates who will join the workforce. If we want every one of them to have some post-secondary, post-high school education, we need to expand the number of high-quality workforce pathway options offered by community colleges. We need to create more than just BA pathways into the labor market. But these 30 million new entrants to the labor market will not be enough to ensure the widely shared prosperity we aspire to. To build a strong competitive economy, we are going to also need to upskill and reskill some 40 million adults who have some college but no credential, and 50 million adults whose highest level of education is a high school diploma. One of the most important ways of meeting this challenge is going to be building a new generation of state-level strategies to give adult learners access to the high-value, short-term, flexible, labor market-aligned, and affordable workforce programs offered at our community colleges. The good news is that all of you have started this work already. You are taking this challenge on in your states, and our aspiration for this initiative is that by working with you, working as a collective group, we can go even further in helping you reach your goal to create a system that supports your state economy and creates opportunity and prosperity for all. We are so excited that Colorado Governor Jared Polis is joining us this afternoon to kick off our conversation. Colorado's been a leader in this work, and we're thrilled to have one of the states participating be here to kick us off. So let me hand it over to you, Governor Polis.
Thank you, Chauncey. Thank you, Kermit. Thank you, Lumina Foundation, for putting on this event as we kick off our Future Ready States initiative. You know, building a strong, skilled workforce for the future is certainly one of my top priorities. We share that with you. I'm excited to learn with you, to drive innovation, to raise the bar on connecting learners with the skills, the credentials, to demonstrate that they have those skills to get a good job, build a prosperous future for themselves, and in the aggregate, that means growing our economy. We know that education is a key part of the pathway to success. In today's shifting world, we need to look at it differently, and expanding opportunity into secondary and post-secondary education, really meeting learners and earners where they're at. Short-term, non-degree credentials are one tool, work-based learning experiences, ways to build up the workforce that can provide new and meaningful career-connected educational opportunities. And in Colorado, we've really been focused on that, expanding pathways for learners of all ages, get skills they need to help credential those skills in a way that's meaningful to employers, to fill in-demand jobs, earning a good living, and of course, power our economy. And we're really looking at the full continuum from classroom to career. We passed free preschool and full-day free kindergarten and preschool for every family. That also empowers parents to re-enter the workforce sooner if they choose. And today, more than half of Colorado students graduate with some form of dual and concurrent enrollment credit or industry certification, and we can do even better. And we've made short-term credentialing opportunities free for in-demand fields like EMT, phlebotomy, entry-level fields that are also stackable. Yesterday, I was at one of our community colleges. I met with a number of folks that are doing a CNA program, and many of them have aspired to, again, become full nurses. But like many of you here today, we're focused on connecting learners to high-quality skills. And it's key that we use real labor market data, engaging employers, but also looking at data from the employment market, transfer data, longitudinal outcome data to know what's working in the credential and certification space, and make sure we can be thoughtful about how these pathways interact with traditional higher ed, other workforce training, county workforce centers, everything that's in the ecosystem. And that's part of our broader strategy to build and expand high quality on-ramps to lead to success, to post-secondary education and training. And there's a lot more work to do to make sure our public workforce systems and public education system work together to meet employer demand, learner needs, opportunity. And by thoughtfully building out the short-term and non-degree credential landscape, we can make sure our states deliver more opportunities that lead to real jobs, real wage gains, employment stability, and of course, stackability for opportunities. We're continuing to drive growth by thinking creatively about how to deliver post-secondary education in new and innovative ways, and really lean into that innovation and collaboration, knowing that when we come together across states, we can raise the bar on our work to drive opportunity for individuals and for our economy in the aggregate. And that's what drives our excitement about the Future Ready States project alongside 11 other states. It's also the focus of my initiative as chair of the National Governors Association. Let's get ready, educating all Americans for success. With this initiative, we're really driving conversations about what readiness is, how we measure it, how to better prepare individual learners, and drive our economic competitiveness. Together, we're challenging what it means to be prepared to succeed. And from where I sit, that's a recipe for opportunity and for prosperity. Again, we're excited to participate in Future Ready States, and I want to thank you all for this opportunity.
Terrific. Thank you, Governor. We really appreciate your leadership on all these issues. Let me hand it back to Kermit.
All right. Thank you so much, Chauncey. And thank you again, Governor Polis, for your leadership in Colorado and your leadership on these issues more generally. Really appreciate you making the time to be a part of this conversation and show the importance of this issue to your state and to the nation. I'm going to now introduce my colleague, Georgia Reagan, who's the strategy officer for two-year credentials of value here at Lumina Foundation. And Georgia is going to kick us off with those videos that we've mentioned of our state leads talking about the importance of this initiative in their state contexts.
Thank you, Kermit. So let's jump right in. We asked the 12 state leads to record videos of themselves, sharing what they hope to get out of this project. And we'd love to share some of the highlights from those videos with you now.
Greetings, representing from the great state of Louisiana.
Proud to be representing Mississippi in the Future Ready States.
I'm thrilled about Lumina's Future Ready States initiative.
We're really excited about the opportunity to tackle some big questions.
We have 12 comprehensive community and technical colleges across our state. We serve over 150,000 students annually, and we've completed our largest graduating class this year, over 36,000 individuals.
The timing of this initiative is perfect for New Jersey.
Right now, we have the opportunity to grow. The time is right.
Create more opportunities for people at different points in their education and career journeys.
What excites me most about the Future Ready States project is its potential to accelerate progress toward our statewide educational attainment goal to have 2 million North Carolinians aged 25 to 44 with an industry-valued college degree or short-term credential by the year 2030.
There's a lot of credentials out there right now, trying to figure out which ones matter for our students.
There's a lot of gaps in the data in the sort of shorter term credential space.
There are several challenges around understanding credentials of value.
Alabama's main challenge is its labor force participation rate.
Consistently defining credentials of value and identifying a funding mechanism.
We need to continue to grapple with the disconnect between employer needs and education received, while critical sectors like advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and IT are hungry for talent.
To accelerate transformation, to refine quality, and to ensure that all learners gain high-value credentials.
Future Ready will provide us with a framework and technical assistance to 1. Commit to a bold goal for attainment and economic mobility.
We'll be able to lay a really strong policy foundation that will allow us to reduce barriers.
We are looking for businesses to lead the discussion on what credentials they need.
We really want to develop a framework for stackable credentials that help students get good jobs.
Build pathways that, again, lead people, have multiple entrance ramps.
Success to me looks like having a learner who is excited about the fact that they have successfully earned a credential, something that will give them the opportunity for economic mobility, and that they know that they stood on their own 2 feet and did it, and that the system provided the supports.
We'll know we're successful if Colorado has a strong policy foundation that's adaptable to changes in our economy, while still making sure we deliver quality and stackability for students.
We'll refine, scale, and share a proven blueprint.
Community colleges are at the crossroads of these changes and are ready to work with our business, social justice, academic, workforce development, and government partners.
In Texas, we're not starting from zero. We're already leading.
Lead people to good jobs, good wages, and good opportunities going forward.
We deliver quality and stackability for students.
We are aligning our work and our colleges to offer the credentials that are needed for the jobs of the future.
We're not measured by tradition, but we're measured by innovation.
That That was great. And let me just say that we had the chance to speak with all 12 state leads before we launched this project, and in many cases with their partner organizations too. And the passion and energy we heard from you really reinforced just how vital this conversation is. And we are so proud to support you in this work. So now we wanted to provide a quick overview of how we're going to do this work. And for that, we're asking our 5 intermediary partners to provide some brief remarks on the states that they'll be working with and the key opportunities and challenges that you've identified. With more on that, I'll turn it back over to Kermit to introduce our intermediary partners.
All right, thank you so much, Georgia. And I just wanted to reflect. You saw in the video not just the passion and the energy that we saw from our state leads in this, but also the diversity of the state leads that are part of this project. We have governor's offices, we have community college associations, we have higher education agencies, we have non-governmental organizations, and that really was an intentional choice with this project. We wanted to see different approaches, different state approaches, and different kinds of leadership as we think about how to tackle defining and maximizing the value of credentials of value. In that work, we're thrilled to be joined, partnering with 5 national intermediary organizations that are going to be helping you and supporting you in your work, because it really is the work that you at the state level are going to be doing here. And we wanted to offer them an opportunity to talk a little bit about the states that they're working with, the specific opportunities and challenges that they're seeing in those states, and that they're and a little bit about their theory of action as they approach the work. So we're going to hear from all 5 of our intermediary partners very briefly. I'm going to start with Melissa Johnson, who's the Managing Director of State Strategies at National Skills Coalition. Hey, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about the states you're going to be working with, the partners you're going to be working with, and the way that you guys are going to be approaching this work?
Thank you so much, Kermit. I'm very excited. We're very excited to be a part of this initiative because, of course, we share your commitment to helping more adults secure in-demand credentials in this fast-changing economy. So with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our project and the partners that we are working with. And cue up my slides here. There we go. I think you should see them now. So for 25 years, National Skills Coalition has advanced both state and federal policy changes in coalition with colleges, public officials, businesses, labor, community organizations, and workers and advocates. So as part of this project, we are leveraging that experience to work with 2 nonprofit organizations as leads to convene diverse stakeholders to set policy goals and develop strategic action plans that help more learners earn quality workforce credentials. We often find that people outside of the systems are some of the best accountability partners because they can see the issues that learners facing from across different departments. And so we've chosen to work with some great external nonprofit organizations. So My Future NC, if you could see this slide, you could see their logo. From their logo, which includes the state's attainment goal, they're completely focused on furthering the state's attainment goal by connecting and convening partner stakeholders, identifying and advocating for partner solutions, and monitoring and reporting progress. And then Women Employed is a nonprofit organization whose principal mission is improving the economic status of women to remove barriers to economic equity. And they have a history of working on financial aid and student debt issues, career pathways, and student success. And they are off to a great start. Some of the partners that Illinois has already brought together are shown on this slide. So everyone from the Chicago Jobs Council to folks across Illinois departments, and there's plans to add more entities to that list. North Carolina, my future NC, has similarly brought together a number of partners and is coordinating with the governor's office and his council on workforce and apprenticeships with plans to add more organizations to the table. And both of these teams have already identified policy opportunities with our support, including better leveraging federal funds and scaling successful initiatives already in the state. And of course, one challenge that we see are budget constraints, both at the state and federal level. So that's why we think it'll be all the more important that NSC help these teams create action plans to help leverage these opportunities and mitigate challenges as best we can. And so we'll be providing supports in the form of research, analysis, learning, mapping, support, meeting facilitation, and of course, strategic thought partnership. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Kermit.
All right, terrific. Thank you so much, Melissa. Really appreciate NSC's partnership on this, and we're thrilled to be working with My Future NC and Women Employed as the state leads and their partners. Really, some exciting opportunities happening in both of those states. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Kenyatta Lovett, who's a principal with Education Strategy Group. Kenyatta, great to see you. Tell us a little bit about ESG and the states you're working with, and some of the opportunities and challenges you're seeing with them.
Sure. And thank you, Kermit, and thank you, Georgia, and the entire Lumina Foundation team for this effort that's near and dear to our work at ESG. And I'm going to quickly just cover our work in the 3 states that we're leading. And I just wanted to start off by stating, oh, sorry. There we go. Quickly just start off just saying we're excited for the launch of the Lumina Foundation's Future Ready States project and to be supporting 3 innovative states. In 2009, Lumina adopted its ambitious 2025 attainment goal, which ignited an unprecedented wave of innovation across the nation, all focused on strong college completion outcomes. The strong results from this effort have led to necessary transformation in higher education, improved economic prosperity, and most importantly, advancements in economic mobility for millions of people across our nation. I'm grateful that Lumina did not stop there, but instead embarked on a new journey to drive towards more meaningful measures of post-secondary value. At ESG, we're excited for this new outlook in the field, and it is squarely aligned with our vision at ESG to ensure all learners achieve realized economic mobility. We're elated to support Michigan, Tennessee, and Virginia, all of which have made meaningful progress toward attainment and value, each providing a unique contribution to the goals established for this initiative. So let's look at the specific goals for each of the state partners. And as I begin to highlight the work for the state partners, sorry. I apologize. As we begin to look at the work from each of the state partners, I just want to iterate one thing that's really important for all 3 that's unique for the 3 that we're working with, is that all 3 will be embarking on a gubernatorial election coming up fairly soon for all of them. So landing on this work and solidifying this work in the near future just sets a good path forward for where their states can keep advancing on this movement around value. So for Michigan and the Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement and Potential, led by Michelle Richards, it's committed to a deep dive into 3 to 5 high-value pathways, starting with skills certificates to improve a student journey to the degree programs that they have in the state of Michigan. In Tennessee, the Higher Education Commission, in collaboration with the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, is focused on ensuring that their definitions of credentials and of value are aligned across all the agencies and are actively used in policy decisions. And then for Virginia, the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia is focused on not only measuring value, but ensuring students know which programs lead to good jobs and deliver real results for them. ESG is very proud to be supporting all of these states, and our work with these states will center on four main areas. First is on strategic planning in the state's context and also collaboratively. Again, there's a lot that each state can learn from each other, and each have been stated their excitement in being able to, cross-pollinate new ideas. Second is data-driven decision making and pinpointing the high-value pathways that inform policy. Third is fostering collaboration across agencies, and that's for long-term success for each state. Again, multiple agencies are part of these efforts, which makes it a really robust way to ensure value is elevated across the entire state. And then finally, a focus on shared outcomes for learner success. So again, we are really excited about this work ahead. I want to thank you again, Kermit and Georgia and the entire Lumina Foundation team for allowing us to be a part of this work.
Well, we're really pleased and thrilled to be partnering with you, Kenyatta, and the ESG team, and your the partners in Michigan, Tennessee, and Virginia, great states that are really doing exciting and innovative work. I'm going to turn now to our third partner, Jobs for the Future, and I'd like to turn things over to Taylor Magg, who's the Director of Workforce Policy at JFF. Taylor, can you tell us a little bit about the states and the partners that you're going to be working with as part of this initiative?
Yes, thanks, Kermit, and hi, everyone. JFF is so excited to join Lumina Foundation's Future Ready States initiative alongside this wonderful group of grantees and states really committed to improving the value and impact of workforce credentials. Really briefly, JFF is a national nonprofit focused on bold education and workforce reform, and we believe this project really will emphasize and help us meet our North Star goal, which is in the next decade, ensuring that the 75 million people that are unemployed have access to good jobs in our country. So with that, let me just share my slides really quick. Great. So like I said, this project, JFF is working with Colorado and Alabama to advance high quality workforce credentials in their states. Our theory of change is really focused on partnering directly with the governor's offices, as well as key state leaders that they identify in these states to advance a new vision for workforce credentials, one that is coordinated, one that is measurable, and aligned with each state's broader economic, education, and workforce goals. We believe that this effort will help states create a really cohesive strategy to expand access to short-term credentials and make sure that they lead to strong returns for individuals, employers, and communities. So here's a little bit more about our states. We all just had the privilege of hearing from Governor Polis. We feel very lucky and privileged to work with him and his team at the governor's office. We also will be working with leaders across the other agencies, including the Workforce Development Council, Department of Higher Education, Department of Labor and Employment, including their Office of Future of Work, as well as their Office of Apprenticeship and Apprenticeship Colorado. We also will be working with the Department of Education as well. Why Colorado and the opportunity that exists in the state? I mean, I think Governor Polis said it best, so I won't repeat a lot of what he mentioned, but we already know that Colorado is one of the leading states in this work, and they are greatly committed to expanding short-term credentials and non-degree pathways for their learners and workers. We also know that the state has a growing demand to align their credential systems with their workforce needs to ensure the programs individuals have access to really align to regional labor market needs. We also feel like this project has a chance to inform some of the recent goals that the states have set through last year's legislative cycle and this year, including the announcement of the recent executive order Governor Polis spoke more to on reimagining their post-secondary talent development work. However, even with the momentum and deep experience Colorado's facing, there, of course, are never not challenges in this work. The state is managing rapid economic growth. Business is thriving there. More and more people are moving to the state. So how do you make sure that you're rapidly getting people prepared for the jobs that are in demand while also ensuring local Coloradans have access to those opportunities? The other challenge is unifying efforts and aligning system towards shared goal. Because there's so much great work happening, how do we make sure the state's working together? And we believe our work can help. And then lastly, sustainability. I know no one wants to see him go, but Governor Polis will be ending his term in January 2027. So how will this work continue? And we believe that this initiative will help really create a strong legacy for the governor's office and the state teams, as well as even set some priorities for the next legislative cycle. Now to Alabama. Alabama, similarly, we are working with a great set of leaders at the state level, including the governor's office, their Department of Workforce, Commission on Higher Education, and Community College System. Similar to Colorado, I think we all hear about Alabama constantly. They are doing such amazing, innovative work across workforce development, and we really believe that our partnership with them can build on the existing funding, the existing quality frameworks that they've developed, as well as their talent triad, which is a national exemplar other states are looking to replicate, and federal policymakers are looking to scale. We also believe this presents an opportunity to build the state's coalition of the willing, so really ensure that state leaders are on board with this effort and continue to focus on getting other partners committed to the work, and really enhance access to special populations, which is something that came up in our early calls with the state team. And I think this also moves nicely into the challenges, which you heard Nathan on the video talk about. One of the major challenges of the state is addressing some of the labor force participation and educational attainment gaps, and ensuring that more folks have access to good opportunities and good jobs across the state. Similar to Colorado, we're working on thinking about unifying efforts and aligning systems towards a shared goal at the state level, and of course, sustainability, because similarly, Governor Ivey is also going to be her administration is ending around the same time as Governor Polis's. So how can this work really set up a legacy and make sure the next leader of the state can take this on? So with that, JFF plans to support each state through the following: through research, coaching, and convenings. We will work with states to develop a landscape analysis, looking at what programs currently exist, how are they funded, where are the gaps in access, quality, and impact. From there, we will work collectively with governor's offices and state leaders to really draw on that analysis to develop a new statewide vision for the work. So really identifying what success looks like for learners, employers, and regional economies in the credentialing space. And from that vision, really help states then chart a path to realize it through action planning. So what are the changes in policy, data systems, and program implementation that are needed to happen with a real focus on sustainability and impact? Alongside these activities, similar to other grantees like NSC and ESG, we will be providing opportunities for peer learning. We want state teams to really exchange ideas, workshop key components of their strategies, and explore common challenges. So in conclusion, by the end of this effort, we hope Colorado and Alabama will have a clearly articulated statewide vision for short-term credentials, an actionable roadmap to guide agency work, legislative strategy, and future investment. And we really hope that this work better positions both states to build on their momentum they already have, align key stakeholders, and move into implementation with confidence and clarity. We also hope that this offers Lumina and the field a replicable model as other states seek to measure the value and impact of short-term credential pathways. So thank you all. I'm really excited to be part of the project.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Really appreciate it. And we're very much looking forward to working with you and the team at JFF and your partners in Alabama and Colorado. Moving right along, I'd like to introduce Emily McGrath, who's the Director of Workforce Policy at the Century Foundation. Emily, you guys are going to be working with Mississippi and Louisiana. Can you tell us a little bit about the work you guys are doing and who you're doing it with?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kermit. Before I dive in, I just want to say that TCF, the Century Foundation, is a public policy think tank based in Washington, D.C. And I also want to thank the Lumina Foundation for the opportunity to be part of this important project. It's an absolute privilege to be part of this group, which is focused on such a timely effort. So with that, I will share my slides. So our theory of action really focuses on aligning policies and programs and investments and stakeholders to address systemic barriers in both education and employment systems. Our ultimate goal is to increase access to quality credentials and career pathways. And we're going to do this primarily through three interconnected strategies. These include leveraging labor market data to identify high-value credentials that are aligned with regional economic needs, expanding the pool of high-quality jobs through mechanisms like identifying those positions that currently require a four-year degree but could be done with a workforce credential, and increasing labor force participation. Are my slides changing, Kermit?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, sorry, 1 second. New slide?
Yep.
Okay, great. We're working with the states of Mississippi and Louisiana, as Kermit mentioned, which are being led by Accelerate Mississippi, Mississippi's workforce agency, and the Louisiana Community and Technical College System. Both of these organizations have a really deep bench of state partners, from economic development agencies to community-based organizations, and are really well positioned to provide the insight and the feedback needed to ensure that our final strategies are grounded in local realities and really responsive to each state's unique context. Like all states, Mississippi and Louisiana both have opportunities and challenges in front of them as they tackle this issue. These are states that are laser focused on increasing workforce participation and increasing high wage jobs, especially in tradable sectors like energy and manufacturing that bring wealth into the state. They face challenges like broadband availability, dispersed populations, and limited public transportation, but their innovative leaders, Monty Sullivan in Louisiana and Courtney Taylor in Mississippi, are digging into really creative and strategic solutions that involve data collection and analysis, paid training, and huge gains in educational attainment that are driving results that are really positioned to scale and transform community and technical college instruction in their states into reliable and powerful engines of job quality and economic growth. So this project will help really accelerate those efforts by providing the insights and strategic support that will lay that foundation. And with that, I will turn it back to Kermit.
Thank you so much, Emily. Really appreciate that. And then last but certainly not least, let me introduce Carrie Sampson, who's the director of the Solutions Lab at Business Higher Education Forum. Carrie, you guys are working with 3 states. Can you tell us a little bit about them and the way you guys were going to approach the work?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. Really honored on behalf of BHEF to be here, to be part of this work, and to be collaborating with all of you. All right, let's share screens and see if this works. All right, are you seeing the slides?
Yes, we are.
All right, excellent. We're in business. It is my pleasure to talk to you a little bit more today about how we are going to be working with our partners in Connecticut and Texas and New Jersey, and what they're going to be doing to create statewide success through their short-term credential plans. So for those of you who don't know us, the Business Higher Education Forum is a national network connecting corporate and higher education leaders to identify emerging skills and co-develop pathways that address talent gaps. Now, as we were looking for state partners for this project, we looked at a number of factors, including finding the right policy environments, potential for impact, and teams that could each bring a unique approach and baseline to this effort. But really, the special sauce about each of these states is the business relationships that they've created and the commitments that they have from the employer community to be at the table with them throughout this effort. So diving a little bit into Connecticut first, what's really exciting about Connecticut is that they've got so much going on already. They have recent credential quality legislation, which has passed. Their governor's workforce council is highly involved, and they have a number of initiatives already underway across the state. So through our lead partner, the Office of Workforce Strategy, they and their partners and team are going to be working to unify those efforts into a comprehensive strategy that will optimize outcomes and position Connecticut to be a top talent destination. Turning now to New Jersey, the New Jersey Council of County Colleges, which represents the state's community college system, has really demonstrated itself to be a strong convening partner with a unique ability to bring together the state partners, the business community, and those community college members. So NJCCC is going to be leveraging that convening power to bring together a team and its partners to develop the first statewide investment strategy for short-term credentials. And now this team is also going to be prioritizing some activity for work this fall in light of New Jersey's upcoming governor's election, as the policies and plans developed through this initiative could offer really valuable guidance to that incoming administration. And then finally, Texas. As you likely already know, Texas has been leading the way for outcomes-based funding policy since the passage of House Bill 8 about 2 years ago. There's now new legislation that's been passed creating a credential of value framework and methodology, which has added some additional implementation implications for community colleges that they're going to need to know how to navigate. So with the leadership of the Texas Success Center, the Texas Association of Community Colleges, and their business and education partners, they're going to be working on a plan to create policies, procedures, and practice to set up higher education leaders, institutions, and students for long-term success. So that's a little bit about what we're going to be working on. We're looking forward to collaborating with all of you.
All right, terrific. Thank you so much, Carrie. And thank you to all of the intermediary partners for that great overview. As you can see, this is a really diverse range of states and partners, really diverse set of intermediaries. And I think that's going to be one of the strengths of this project is the opportunity to learn from and leverage different perspectives. All of you as state leaders and states are doing exciting and innovative work, and we want to make sure that there's opportunities for learning from one another as we go forward. I want to say we're going to bring this webinar to a close. We value your time, and so we don't want to keep you on too long. A couple of remarks before we jump off. I do want to emphasize something about this project, which is that we do not at Lumina have a definition of success that we are expecting you to adopt. This is really intended to be an opportunity for you as a state to define what success looks like in your particular state context and to build on the work that many of you have already been doing in many cases to strengthen the value of short-term workforce credentials. And we thank you for the work that you've done. We thank you for your partnership moving forward. We're really excited to be working with all of you, and we want to be able to help you in any way that we can as part of this project. A couple of thoughts on that. It is our intention to bring everyone together for an in-person convening as part of this project. We are tentatively looking at the second week of November of this year. Although we'll make sure to send out save the date well in advance of that. But our goal is to try to bring you all together for an opportunity to learn from one another about what's working, what's not, how you guys are attacking this and these challenges and how you're solving these problems. And so we're really looking forward to seeing everyone at that convening. We hope everyone who's on the call can make it. We also are interested in hearing from you as states about what kind of research would be helpful moving forward. Obviously, one of the things we're doing as part of this project is we are supporting the technical assistance and support that you're getting from your intermediary partners. But we also want to hear from you if there are burning questions that you have that where there are other national partners or state or local partners that we could be supporting that would help answer questions that are important to you. We'd like to hear from that. You can email me directly at kaliba@luminafoundation.org if you have any suggestions, or you can obviously share that information with your intermediary partners. We'd love to hear from you if there's anything missing from the sort of the field of knowledge that we can help support you with. We would really want to hear from that. And last but not least, I would say thank you to everyone. Thank you to all my colleagues at Lumina, but thank you to the intermediaries, and most especially thank you to all the great state leaders that I know are on this call. We really appreciate your being on this journey with us over the next 18 months, and we look forward to talking again soon. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.